Ram has refreshed the entire 1500 lineup. So now we don't have the 5.7 liter V8 anymore. Instead, we have 6s. We have the base V6 naturally aspirated, or like we have in this one, the straight 6 turbo, twin turbo inline 6 Hurricane engine, 420 horsepower. And honestly, I don't necessarily miss the V8, and I'm gonna let you know why when we take this for a drive. We're gonna have a look at the front end design, the changes they made here, which I think looks pretty cool, the side, the rear, the interior, and then we're gonna take this for a drive. This 1500 is equipped with the Lone Star trim, which is exclusive to Texas dealerships, and this trim is essentially a Bighorn with some minor changes to the exterior and interior, such as exterior badging and a unique grille design. But since the Bighorn is the more common trim, I'll refer to this as that throughout this video. Now, under the hood of this 1500, we do have a 3-liter twin-turbo inline 6, putting out more power than the old V8. We have 420 horsepower and 469 pound-feet of torque, connected to an 8-speed automatic. You got 4-wheel drive. 0 to 60 takes 4.7 seconds. Towing capacity comes out to 11,560 pounds. Payload sits at 1,910 pounds. Fuel economy, 18 city, 25 highway, and the price for this, the Bighorn base price, is $46,930. However, as this one is tested, that comes out to $67,730. Starting with the front end changes to the 2025 1500 with the chrome package. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the chrome package. There's just a little bit too much chrome for me. I would personally go with the Sport Appearance package, or even better, the Night Edition. The differences between those two is the Sport Appearance package, you still get, for example, the chrome ram here in the middle, and you also get the bright inserts for the headlights. Well, if you go with the Night Edition, everything is blacked out. The chrome in the middle, and also the headlight unit and the taillight bezel is also darkened out, and I think that looks really good with a bright color for the truck. This reminds me of the overall Bighorn now looks like the previous Limited, because the headlights are a lot thinner than what they were before, and we also have this section now being a little bit bigger, and the grille, I do believe, extends further down. It looks like the grille is also a little taller for 2025. I do think it's still a very, very handsome truck. I personally bought a 2020 Ram Rebel because I liked the Ram 1500's design better than the Chevys and the Ford and the GMCs, and I think they still have that clear identity in the front end. We have these chrome bar or chrome rectangles now in the grille, sort of bringing it back to previous generations of the 1500s. Further down, we do have the LED fog lights down here with integrated parking sensors all over this place. You have 2 here, and in the front end as well, you have the radar here, and you also have a radar or parking sensor or another sensor right under the A. The headlights are not full LED still, but we do have a light bulb for the indicator for the Bighorn model. If you step it up, everything is going to be LED in the headlight unit. Small little detail up top on the hood. I do believe the shape of the hood is the exact same shape as we had in the 2024 model year. But if you look here on the side, it now says 1500 SST, meaning straight 6 turbo instead of the old 5.7 liter Hemi, which it used to say there. So that's how you can tell that this is now a 6-cylinder engine underneath this hood. Now, coming around to the side view, there are a couple of new changes here for 2025. For example, for the Bighorn now, we do have body painted flares here going around the wheel arches. These wheels and tire setup, these are the very base wheel and tire setup that you can get for the Bighorn. We have 18-inch wheels with 275 millimeter wide tires with the Goodyear Wrangler tires on this one. I do think it looks good in black. I would personally probably switch the wheels and tires out, level this out, maybe even put 35s on here, and again, put the Night Edition package on here to black out all the chrome. But that's just a matter of taste. Some people like the chrome. Personally, not a huge fan, as I'm sure you know. We also have these new big trailer or towing side mirrors. This is a first for 2025 to have this with a Bighorn model. They are a little bit too big for me, because when you take this for a drive, I'm going to show you just how much of an area these big mirrors block from your view, specifically when you're about to take a turn across a street. It's very hard to see what's going on because of these big mirrors. You have full LED indicators here looking beautiful. I do like the integration that we have here with the RAM on the side as well. Now you can get this in, I do believe, 3 configurations. This is the 5.7 foot bed here, which is probably the standard, I would say, with the crew cab configuration of full back seat. You can also get it with a smaller back seat and a 6.4 foot bed, or if you want to go as big as possible, you can still have the crew cab with the extended 6'4" bed with the Bighorn. Now checking out the rear end of the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn. We do have still the non-LED, the light bulb indicators here, but I do believe that the outside here is actually LED, which is a good thing for 2025. That's what we want to have. We don't have the Ram logo anymore here in the middle. Instead, we do have this big chrome letters Ram stamped out in the middle. We have the backup camera located right here. Further down, we do have the Lone Star logo here in the 4x4 on the other side. And thankfully, we do have still, even with the 6, we do have a dual exhaust in the rear end. Fantastic. That's what I love to see on the Rams. Doesn't have the same sound or grunt as the V8, but it still sounds decent. The power is definitely still there for the inline 6. We're going to talk about that in a minute when we take this for a drive. Up top of the bed on this specific Ram 1500 Bighorn, we do have a soft tonneau cover, and in addition to that, you also have this kickstand now. So if you want to jump up here, check what's going on up top in the bed. It's very, very easy to do that. And overall, the Bighorn, to me, if I were to spec this correctly, as I would want it to be with the Night Edition package, so maybe even the stock wheels would be fine, and don't need 35s on this. But I do think the design is still very, very clean. And I'm glad that they went very conservative when it comes to the updates for this, because it's already a beautiful looking truck. Let's check out what's new in the interior for 2025 with the Ram 1500 Bighorn. So in here, it looks very familiar to the pre-facelift. You still have the same start button here. You still have the same 12-inch infotainment screen. You can now, though, go up to over 14 inches if you need to. I don't feel the need to have a bigger screen than this. This is perfectly fine for me. Up top, we do have beautiful leather-wrapped dash. And on top of that, the analog gauge cluster for the Bighorn are still intact with the center screen in the middle. This is actually my preferred layout. I prefer to have the 2 analog dials, the tachometer and the speedometer on the sides with the screen in the middle, instead of what you get when you go out to the higher trims, when you get a full digital display now. This comes with a technology package as well, meaning that you do have a reverse camera here. You can have it as a mirror or a camera, and some other tech features here as well. You have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which is fantastic. I love that we have the wireless charging port, or not a port, you just put your phone here in these sockets. So on the sides here, on the infotainment screen, we do have the same old climate buttons that we have in 2024. So we have the temp here, the fan speed mode, and also dual climate zones in this truck. Vents looks very nice. I always loved this integration. It just looks beautiful. Volume knob here, and the tuning knob on the other side. Screen on and off. If you don't want the screen on at all, you just click this button and it turns everything off. Further down, this is new for 2025, I do believe. You have the adjusted ride height here, so you can adjust how high or low you want the truck to sit. And if you go on the highway speeds, it actually lowers it down to the second level, to the lowest point. Parking sensors on and off here, traction control on and off. You have the trailer steering here and the trailer brake as well. 4 USBs down here, 2 USB-Cs and 2 regular USBs. I'm glad they still have the regular USBs on a 2025 truck. And as I said, the charging down here, you have a huge storage compartment here with a 12-volt outlet all the way down at the bottom, a house outlet. In this section, the middle section, this does not feel like they changed anything for 2025, and I do think that's a good idea because it works really cool. You can slide this back and forth. 2 cup holders in the front, more storage here, and if you open this up, you have a first level of storage up top, and you can also open up the full thing, and it gives you access to this massive bin that's underneath the center portion. Looking at the gauge cluster, I love this setup. As I said, you can configure whatever you want in the middle screen, which is exactly like I want. And you can also configure all the small screens that we have all around the main screen. And I love how it lights up in red when it shows you which screen you're actually about to configure. It just looks very clean, and it's also very useful because you can have a lot of information within a small space, and you can also configure the exact information that you want. The range is great as well, over 620, 630 miles on a full tank. Steering wheel looks super clean, very Ram. If you've been in any Ram the last 5 years or so, it's going to be the exact same steering wheel. You have the controls for the cruise control settings here, the gear limit, or the if you're going downhill, you want to do some engine braking, you use these buttons here on the right side. And you have the drive modes here, so you have 5 different drive modes here. You have sport, off-road, auto, snow, and tow. And if you want to manual switch up the four-wheel drive system, you do that down here. And we still have, yes, we still have the rotary dial for the gear selector. Some people don't like this, but I've gotten used to this over the years. It's not a big deal. You have four-wheel drive auto, four-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive low, and two-wheel drive. I keep it in two-wheel drive maybe 90% of the time, unless I'm going on a trail or something like that. Engine, start, stop, on and off down here as well, and I always like to keep that off. Buttons for the window controls are all brand new. It's a new design for them, and you also have these new trailer mirrors, have 2 separate mirrors on them, so you can adjust them individually with these controls here on the door. Seats are pretty basic seats. They're cloth seats. I don't mind that at all. They're very, very comfortable, and the driver also got the power adjustable seat, while the passenger have manual adjustments. And then we have the 2 glove box here like we used to seeing from Ram as well, still intact with the Lone Star badge right there up top. Jumping into the back seat of the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn. I love how this door almost opens up in 90 degrees. Makes for a very easy entry. You also have this grab handle here. No problems whatsoever to fit the back here. Super spacious, as I would expect from a truck this size. You do have the same situation with the USBs here. You have 2 USB-Cs, 2 USB regulars. You also have the house outlet here, 2 vents as well. No temperature or climate settings for the back seats of the Bighorn. If you fold down the center armrest, you are going to find yourself 2 cup holders here as well. Overall, pretty basic back seats, but I like it. It doesn't have to be super luxurious for every single new truck that comes out. All right, let's take the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn for a drive, and let me show you just how good this Hurricane Inline 6 is. It's very powerful. It's more powerful than 5.7 Hemi V8. We got 420 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds for a pretty base Ram 1500. I do think it's not the base. You can get the naturally aspirated V6 if you want to. That has, I do believe, 305 horsepower. It's going to be, of course, slower than this, but this is definitely the powertrain that I personally would choose. The base price for the new Bighorn is $42,000, but after you add the Hurricane Inline 6, and as I would do after I would add the Night Edition package to this, and maybe the technology package as well, I'm not sure if I would go for that. It's gonna be closer to $53,000, $55,000, something like that, which is still a lot of money, but it's also a lot of truck. Coming out to this main road here, and let's floor it. It definitely goes. It pulls nicely. You can feel the torque and the power increase from the 5.7. It doesn't have the sound though, and that is one thing that I loved about the 5.7 V8 is the noise that you get. And that is definitely something that you're going to miss if that's something that you care about. So this rides on the very basic, the stock wheels, and they are extremely comfortable. That's another thing I love about Ram 1500s is that we have the spring suspension in the back instead of what you have on the GMCs and the Fords, the rest of the competition. They have leaf springs in the back. Personally, for the handling And for the overall comfort, that's one of the reasons why I personally went with a 1500 as well, was because of the springs in the back, and it's so comfortable on these 18-inch wheels. 65 sidewall on these tires also helps to soak up the road, and it's a great road trip truck because if you fill it up, you're gonna get over 600 miles of range, and that is something that I wish I had in my 5.7 liter V8 Rebel. But overall, there's not a huge difference here in the interior. This looks exactly almost identical to the 2020 if you stick with this setup that you have right here with a 12-inch screen. As I said, you can get the 2025 with a big 14-inch screen, but just having the layout like this with the same rotary dial here, same layout on the gauge cluster as well with the still analog clusters, which is great. It's great that we still have analog clusters for 2025 in some new cars. So we're gonna get out here on the highway, and I'm gonna show you just how quiet this truck is on the road. You barely hear any wind noise or any road noise for that matter. That has to do with these comfy tires that we have on here. And it also, I like that it lowers itself on the highway to further improve the gas mileage. And in its very lowest setting, it actually sits very, very low to the ground. All right, so coming on to the on-ramp here, let's floor it. That's a little bit of tire squeal from the rear tires. And we're up to 70. So if you're worried about performance with the new inline-6 Hurricane engine, you don't have to worry about that one bit. I love this powertrain that we have here. I would definitely switch out the exhaust because I want to have it be a little louder than this. This, you can barely hear it even when you're flooring it. For a Ram 1500 this size with the dual big bazooka tailpipes in the rear, it just makes sense to have it be a little louder than this. Just cruising along here on the highway, lean the seats back a little bit and just chill out. And you can go forever in this truck, or you can go for 620 miles until you need to fill up again. But the thing about a range like 620 miles is, after that type of distance, your body is going to need rest too. You're gonna want to stretch your legs, get something to eat. Overall, my final thoughts on the new 1500s. I like what they did with the bighorn styling. If you get with the night edition or the sport appearance package, it's gonna look like a 2024 limited because of the new changes that we have in the front end design with slimmer headlights. It's a great comfy truck, and if you want to, you can keep the pricing down. You don't need all this tech that we have here. You can even go with an 8-inch infotainment screen. I would be totally fine with that. Overall, I think Ram did a great job with this refresh. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.